Well, as the second wave of the pandemic continues right around the world, health experts are concerned about the alarming rise in mental health issues.
And a platform of podcasts called We As is highlighting the importance of community and conversation. Its founders, Carl, Anthony, and Gareth Nock, join us now to talk all about it. And Gareth, I'm going to begin with you. You've been on our show many times before as a personal trainer, and you say many men are focused on their physical health, but that same focus needs to be applied to mental health as well.
Yeah, it's such an important point, and it's so true. We see so many people, and I think men, but also women as well, and anyone that's stepping into that environment to keep their bodies physically active, to build strength, to get those results from their fitness training. It's important that we also treat the mind the same way. And this is so important because just like we do with our fitness, think about stepping into the gym and having, a resistance training program, some cardio training, you've got some mobility, some yoga. There's all these different facets to train the body and different ways to do it and different muscle groups. Well, the mind's the same. We need to treat the mind the same. So we need to ensure that we're talking, we're having great conversations, we're listening, we are, showing up and we're learning and we're growing, and that's all part of it. And having these conversations, being vulnerable, being able to surround yourself in an environment where you can do that helps with our growth. And just like we grow muscles in the gym, we grow muscles in our mind, and this is all connected to the giving and the taking, the sharing, and the solidarity and the surround yourself, as we like to call it at We As. So it's just so important that we do both, and they're kind of as one.
It's a great point, Gareth. Carl, next to you, because a lot of the regulations and the restrictions that we're living under right now has sadly led to social isolation for many. So for those who feel alone or unmotivated, how do you recommend they cope?
Great question. I think a lot of it starts with feeling that you're not alone through listening to other people's stories and other people's conversations. I think once you realize that so many of us, we effectively share the same fears, we share the same, in many cases, the same traumas, the same phobias, the same challenges and the same successes, once you feel less isolated and that your pain isn't keeping you on that island of suffering, and even as something as simple as listening to a podcast, if that can empower you to start talking to your friends, your loved ones, or perhaps a professional, a therapist, somebody clinically able to help you with whatever you're struggling with, I think it all starts with a conversation. And at the We As family, we playfully call it changing the world one conversation at a time.
And I know you both talk about how bottling up your feelings can lead to even further distress, something many men suffer from. Gareth, what have you learned about men's mental health in particular over this time?
I think a big realization for me is that and what's helped me personally is shared experience. So is kind of just to back up what Carl was saying, that we have to share those experiences. We have to be in an environment where people are open to listening and sharing, and that has such a positive effect. Because when we do that and we hear those shared experiences, and it might be a conversation, but it might just be listening. It might be, downloading an episode of a podcast, listening into what someone else is struggling with, listening to that shared vulnerability between two people. And when that happens, it leads to us getting almost permission, feeling comfortable. And when we do that, and definitely when I've done that in my journey through this podcast and through, many conversations that I've been privileged to have, is I've found it's just supported my mental health. It's given me that outlet, and like Carl said, alongside professional advice, but also just around what people you surround yourself is such an impactful, important part of everything we're doing.
Well, Carl, your podcast, We As, has two main focuses, surrounding yourself and start talking. So tell us a bit about how even just listening can really benefit people who are feeling isolated at this time.
I'm sure we can all relate to chapters in our lives where we were surrounded by perhaps the wrong group of people, the wrong influences, or surrounded by toxicity, whether it's a toxic job or a toxic relationship. And something really beautiful happens is when you change your surround yourself philosophy and you surround yourself with positivity and love and support, it creates a version of you that may not be able to exist. So part of the surround yourself community is being comfortable as we've said, talking about your vulnerabilities, talking about the things that we lock away in closets and they hide in the shadows. And one of the things that we're so privileged to have been a part of, in November, we collaborated with the amazing Movember Foundation, deeply rooted in men's mental health. And all through the month of November, we had these profound conversations with male and female Movember ambassadors. And it's just remarkable what happens when you give somebody a platform to open up and communicate how many other people actually want to be surrounded by that type of influence as well. So it all starts with a conversation. And a real quick note is, in the month of January, it's International We As Start Talking Month. So we welcome everyone to communicate with us through our socials or through our website, and we will help you become the best version of yourself simply by creating a forum for you to start talking.
Well, guys, thank you for this conversation this morning. We As Start Talking is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you or someone you know needs help, contact Crisis Services Canada. Carl, Gareth, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having us.
Very much.